Dis After Dark Podcast is sponsored by Unofficial.com, the home of Halloween Horror Nights news and rumors all year round. Find us on the web at www.hhnunofficial.com. So stop the fog machines and clear the cobwebs. It's time for another episode of the podcast that's nearly the same as all the others.
Right, and so for our other sponsor of the show, we have Wendy Prater at Magical Journeys Travel.
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
The very beautiful looking Wendy Prater. Is she on your to-do list? Like if you meet her in real life, you're allowed to?
She's, when you open the wallet.
Yeah.
She's the picture in my wallet.
I get you. But other than our lust for Wendy, her and her Magical Journeys are there to help you plan your next Disney vacation. So whether that's a Disney cruise or a trip to Disney World, Wendy can help you by getting your reservations at midnight, getting those all-important Be Our Guest dining reservations or meet and greets with Anna and Elsa. And I think if you quote this podcast, Craig, get a bit of a discount on your deposit, don't you?
Yeah, $25 off, yeah.
There you go. So next time you want to book a holiday, give Wendy at Magical Journey Travels a little tinkle at wpmagicjourneys.com or on Twitter at wpmagicjourneys.
God bless Wendy and all that sail in it.
Welcome to Universal After Dark, a Universal podcast that's not the same as all the others.
Hi and welcome to this week's Universal After Dark. I'm Amanda and I'm joined today by Nick.
Hello!
And also Paul.
Bonjour.
Oh, very French.
Still French.
I'm still French. I'm still on French time.
I listened to your trip report yesterday. It was fantastic.
Well, thank you.
It sounded amazing.
It was. It was, and I actually can't wait to get back.
I bet.
Just everything about it was. I know it's not going to be the same, but obviously all the celebration stuff's still going on, so can't wait to get back.
Still going on.
And with the family next time.
It's still going on. It'll be going on the next 3 times I go out, and I might not even be going this year.
Yeah.
Is it still going on?
Yeah.
Why?
Well, because when I think they're the only part to do it, aren't they? But when Disneyland Paris have an anniversary, they like to. Actually, no, that's not true because I've seen Disney World do as well. They like to elongate it as long as possible. So you're looking at 18 months or so, maybe.
Yeah, Disneyland was 18 months.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, you won't get all the. Obviously, what Paul saw on his day there, they're not doing the same parades every day, and obviously not doing that amazing celebration they did at the opening of that day. But they'll be keeping up all the signs, and I imagine they'll keep up a lot of the statues and things like that for the duration.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. Well, anyway, what are you guys drinking?
I have got a big work event tomorrow, which I've got to leave quite early for. In fact, I've got to do the packing after we've recorded tonight. So I am being very sensible, and I am on plain standard Pepsi Max with amaretto. Couldn't be too sensible.
That's so funny. What are you drinking, Paul?
I'm being rather universal tonight, and I've got a chocolate milk.
Oh.
Chocolate milk?
Yeah.
Wow.
Very Back to the Future.
Oh, wow. Well, I'm drinking my usual Bud Light. Even though I said that I wasn't going to drink until I go on holiday next week, I have done it anyway.
Well, Amanda, what would happen if you went all the way over to Orlando and they stopped selling Bud Light because they started selling it in the UK?
I'll be heartbroken.
Exactly. So,
I have to read Blue Moon.
Blue Moon.
Exactly. But I'm so excited. It's like 10 days until I go away. And I feel like this has flown by.
Oh, it'll fly even more so when you're actually out there, unfortunately.
I really hope not.
Oh, no, I mean, I don't wish that on you, but...
We will.
You're going back in 6 months anyway, so...
I know. I know. It's making me very poor.
Yeah.
But also, Universal have just announced something else that's making me want to plan another trip this year, which I really can't do, but I'm so desperate to. So they've announced that they are going to be having Harry Potter Christmas celebrations this year.
Which, let's be honest, because of the relationship that JK has with Universal, that's got to be pretty big news.
It's huge news. It looks absolutely fantastic. So they're going to decorate all of the front of London, all inside Diagon Alley, all inside Hogsmeade, and the mocked up pictures that they've done look incredible.
Well, Amanda, like, I know we've talked about this on I think on here before, but have you actually done the Harry Potter studio tour?
No, not yet. Still,
Paul, you've done it, haven't you?
I've done it, yes.
See, when I went, and I went, I think it was the year that it opened actually. Well, it may have been the following. No, I think it was the just after the first year anniversary. It was around Christmas time, and they did the Great Hall up for Christmas.
Yeah.
And it was amazing.
I've done it twice at Christmas. Yeah, I've done it twice at Christmas now.
Oh wow! I mean, they really do a good job with it. And I obviously can't compare it much to what it's like without it, because I've only been at Christmas. But obviously I know what the Great Hall looks like. But they do a really good job with the Christmas stuff. So for that reason alone, I'd be very excited to see what they actually pull out of the bag at the Wizarding World.
exactly. I think this is going to be a really massive thing because, I mean, in the last few years, we have seen them adding little bits and bobs of Christmas decorations, but I think this is going to be stunning. I'm so excited.
It's not just a few decorations. That's the thing. As you say, they are, and as you can see from the mocked up images, this is a overlay like you would see for Mickey's. What is it? Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party.
Mm-hmm.
Or an event like that. It's going to be an overlay, isn't it? So,
exactly.
yeah. I can't wait either. As a Harry Potter fan, I can't wait to see what they do.
It's absolutely set up for it, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
It's not like they haven't even put Christmas in the films. There's whole sections of films based around Christmas.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it has to be done. Yeah.
What's weird is that, I mean, what is it now? It's the 7th year it's been open. It's the 7th anniversary this summer, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Of the Wizarding World. And that they've only started to do that now. Do you reckon
it's strange.
Do you reckon it's like it could be they're preparing themselves for Pandora? I know as silly as it sounds, but it just seems like they're doing something to try and, in my opinion, just offset. It's come out of the blue.
Yeah, I mean there was rumours last year that something Christmassy was going to be coming, or that there's going to be something coming to Hogsmeade. But I don't think anybody expected a Christmas or holiday overlay. So that's great.
Have they announced when it's going to start yet?
I haven't seen any dates yet, but I'd imagine that it's probably going to be November time. Probably along with but I've got more news in a second that I'll get to. But they're going to have new food, they're going to have new entertainment. It's going to be magical.
Have they signed up Jarvis Cocker to sing?
No.
He did sing in the film, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, like when you say something and think, hang on a second, was it Jarvis Cocker? It was
Yeah.
Jarvis Cocker, yeah.
At the Yule Ball, wasn't it?
That's right. Yeah, see?
Yeah.
All makes
Well,
sense.
if they don't even have real life Hermione on the train, I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, I've not done the train. Is it really that noticeable?
It's
Yeah,
very
it is.
noticeable.
Did the other two do their voices, or?
Rupert did. He was the only one that came back.
Wow.
Daniel didn't, but at least they got someone that actually sounds like Daniel to do it, rather than a 60-year-old who smokes 40 a day to play Hermione.
Exactly.
Oh, man.
Well, the biggest news with this holiday event is that there's going to be a projection show on Hogwarts Castle.
Say what?
I know, it's so exciting. So this is what was rumoured last year in the last few months, but it wasn't rumoured for Christmas time. It was rumoured to be kind of like what the Cinematic Spectacular is, but over at Hogsmeade. So I don't think anybody was expecting it to be Christmas themed. But again, Mike Aiello posted a video of him walking around Hogsmeade and talking about it, and the things that he was saying were amazing. I'll send a link out on our page later so everybody can watch it because it's fantastic.
Super. I legitimately didn't know that.
Really?
If I'm honest, I saw a picture and saw the headline and went, that's all I need to know for now. But, you know, I'm spot a little bit with projection shows because obviously I really thought that Disney Dreams was a great projection show. And then what they did for Star Wars against the Tower of Terror, I thought was phenomenal in Paris as well. I know they've done a Star Wars thing in front of the Chinese theatre, but didn't look quite as impressive. And I think some of that's got to do with the style of building. Now, the Tower of Terror is a great looking building. And as long as you're using the building in the best way that you can, so you literally can't just stick a projection up of something. You've got to make it fit. And if you ever saw, I've not seen the new Disney thing. My wife is seeing that this week while I'm here. But with Disney Dreams, the projection was so good it made the castle look like it was different things. It worked with its parameters, and the same with the Star Wars thing. What they did with the Tower of Terror, and when they started the Star Wars show, was they made the Tower of Terror collapse. It looked like the Tower of Terror collapsed in front of your eyes.
Wow!
To start the show, it was really impressive. So as long as they're going to use the building, and I can't see them trying to half-ass this. I can't see that
they'll go all in with this.
Yeah, and I think if this has been something that's been rumoured for a while, I'd imagine that this is something they've been planning for a while. It's not just something they decided to stick out now. So that makes me really excited, knowing how those shows have been and what they could possibly do with Hogsmeade and Hogwarts.
Exactly, it's going to be beautiful. There was another little bit of Christmassy holiday information that Universal brought out too, and that is the Macy's parade is being kind of rethemed to being based on more Universal things. So things like Minions, things from DreamWorks, but featuring Macy's balloons as well. So it's not going to be called Macy's Parade anymore.
Oh.
Which is a little bit odd, but it's going to be called Universal's Holiday Parade featuring Macy's.
That's a bit odd. Because, I mean, the thing is, I mean, we obviously don't have Thanksgiving over here, and we don't have holiday parades over here. But I think everybody knows the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade.
Exactly.
At least, even just by name. The first, so my sister-in-law is American, and the first year she was here, a bit homesick, wanted to do a Thanksgiving dinner for some of her friends that were here and, some family as well. And I said, we will come on one condition. we can watch the Thanksgiving Day parade whilst we eat. And we did. I think it was like 2 days after Thanksgiving. I did get a download of the parade, and we had it on in the background while we was eating. So it felt good. But it's so synonymous. It's weird that it's kind of being pushed to the back.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it'll probably still have a big presence in the parade, but maybe they did just feel like they wanted it to be a little bit more Universal themed. So we'll see Minions, Shrek, Madagascar, and who knows what else.
Well, I've seen
There's got to be a Shrek one, hasn't there?
Defo gonna be Shrek.
Yeah. And I imagine there'll be a Secret Life of Pets one. Because they've already got one now, haven't they?
Yeah, exactly.
Just stick a Santa hat on a few of the dogs. That'll do you.
Yeah, exactly. I think this is going to work really well. I think it'll be an improvement. What they have now is already really good, but I do think it'll be an improvement.
Do you think, and again, like, unfortunately, Amanda's recording this show with the two un-Universal experts here, but, you know, Disney always seems to make a big deal about Christmas, with the Mickey stuff and how they do decorations and everything like that. And also, and Paris, although it doesn't have the Mickey celebrations over Christmas, they do all the same kind of things, all the decorations and snow and everything like that. Universal never seem, or I never hear that Universal do that much for Christmas. So what do they actually do for Christmas normally?
They usually just have the Macy's parades that goes on throughout November and December and a little bit of January. Then they have Grinchmas. That's pretty much as far as it goes. They do tend to decorate the park.
They're fairly slow with it as well. They don't normally start until like the beginning of December, do they?
I think maybe Grinchmas starts at the end of November.
Yeah.
But the rest of it does tend to be mostly contained to December. But I'm guessing that's because, you know, Halloween Horror Nights went on until the first week of November this year. And they've got to clear all of that up. But apparently this is going to start on the 18th of November this year.
Well, I mean, that's good, because I mean, the thing is, I completely understand what you're saying about Halloween Horror Nights, but most of Halloween Horror Nights is behind the scenes anyway. So it's not that, you know, if they turn around and said that was the excuse why, I think it's a bit cheap. Because, I mean, I remember the last time we was over there, we were, I think we were there to about the 4th or 5th of November, and by the 2nd of November, they were already in full swing decorating everything for Christmas. I think it officially, like, Disney's Christmas stuff started on the 5th of November, or around about that time.
Yeah, I went to the first party the last time we were out, and that was the same weekend as Wine and Dine.
Yeah. So
that would have been like the second weekend.
So they really start to knock it out quickly. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, they've got just as many decorations. Well, they've got a lot of decorations out for Halloween, and that's all gone in a matter of days. And it's a bigger park, so I think that's a cheap answer. They can do the Halloween Horror Night stuff in the background, but
it's true. Maybe there's another reason why they do tend to start a little bit later, but I don't know of it. But I do think that I have seen more people in the last few years going to Universal around Christmas time. I do think it's getting more popular, and maybe this is their answer to that. Yeah,
I think they should. I mean, it, as you say, it brings people in. You know, if you know, Disney have Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween as their alternative to Halloween Horror Nights. There's no reason why Universal can't do more of a Christmas theme because Disney are doing it. It makes sense. Because if you love Christmas, and, you know, a lot of people, you know, this atheist loves Christmas, you know, if there was two things on, I'd go to two things. I wouldn't just go to one.
Exactly.
I'd want to do both.
But this announcement, like, I'm not huge on Christmas, really. But that's, I guess, because I haven't fancied going to anything, really. Any events. I'm not really into the idea of Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party. But this announcement made me want to go to Universal for Christmas, which I've never wanted to do in the past. So they've done a good job.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
100%. So, unless you guys have any more news, I think that's it for the news, really.
No, I think I've only seen some rumours of stuff. I've not really seen any news, so... and I mean, proper unreliable stuff, so it's not even worth mentioning, really. So, I'm good.
Anything, Paul?
No, I've got nothing either.
I did have one more thing, but it's somebody asked it in a question to us, so I think I'll just touch on it when we get to that question.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay, so we posted on our group this week asking for questions from lovely listeners, and we got so many questions, and we've been really excited about recording this so that we could answer them. So basically, I'm just going to go through the list, and I'll answer, and I'll ask the guys to answer too.
I'm so excited by this.
Yeah, because you don't know the questions.
I've not even looked at the questions.
Surprise.
But the reason for that is because if I read the questions before, I've got time to think about it. I'd rather just answer off the cuff.
I'm going to jumble these up because there's some of them that only I'm going to be able to answer, I think. So I'll
see about that.
Right, so the first one I will do is Craig, because he's not here, has asked us, even after going so many times in the past, what new thing to do are you looking forward to next time you visit? And the last time you visited, what was the new thing you did then?
It's quite a complex question, actually.
It is a complex. So we'll start with the first one. What new thing are you looking forward to doing next time you visit Universal? So, Nick, when was the last time that you went?
The last time I went to Universal was 2010. Although we're trying to change that at the moment.
Exciting.
I'll leave that there. At that time, I suppose the newest thing was Wizarding World. I mean, the stars aligned because we were both, well, my wife even more so, but both fans of Harry Potter. And that was our honeymoon trip. And it just so happened that we decided to delay it a year anyway because we had so much going on leading up to the wedding that it felt like we'd be rushing the honeymoon, so we pushed that back a year for our first anniversary, and it was good that we did because the Wizarding World then opened up a few months before we got there, so it was busy, but it wasn't obviously as busy as when it first opened, so all of that stuff, although I've still never done Dragon's Challenge.
Oh, mate, you need to do it soon because I've heard that's going to go.
I've heard that rumour too.
I've heard maybe as soon as September.
Wow, as early as that? Wow.
As early as that. So I'm glad that I'm going next week. Now I'm going to back 10 times.
Are they going to... what do you think? Is it going to be replaced with an outdoor thing, or do you think they're going to use that land to build a new soundstage?
Well, I've seen a couple of rumours that it is going to be potentially a dark ride.
Okay.
So I think they're going to get rid of the entire thing and build a soundstage.
I suppose that could potentially, if they build a new soundstage, that could give them some additional area to do, well, I was going to say Halloween Horror Night stuff, but they don't really do stuff in Islands of Adventure, do they?
Well, I mean, on I don't remember whether Chris was talking about it on our podcast or on Brovision, but he was talking about how it's not very far-fetched to think that they might go back to Islands of Adventure.
I think it was on this one, actually.
Was it?
Yeah. Just
because of all the stuff that they're going to be doing with Nintendo, there's not really going to be much space with all the work that's going to be going on, so potentially it could go back over to Islands units.
Okay. Anyway, so that was the answer to that for me.
Okay, so then next time you visit, what are you looking forward to doing the most?
Well, obviously Jimmy Fallon. No, I think if I get out in the time that I want to, it will be Kong.
Oh.
Only because, and I've obviously talked before about the sadness in never being able to go on the original Kong. So even though I'm not expecting it to blow my socks off, I love Kong, so that would probably be the thing the most. Followed by probably Transformers.
Yeah.
Because I've always wanted to go on that. I'm not a massive fan of the film. Like when the ride first came out, I think I still had some interest in the franchise, but I've not seen the last Transformers. I've got no intention of seeing the new one either. They don't look very good anymore. But I imagine the ride's pretty decent. So, yeah.
Yes. Okay, Paul. What about you?
The last time I went, I did the whole Wizarding World. That was the first time I'd managed to do either side. And obviously the Hogwarts Express being the connecting tissue, I suppose. But yeah, definitely. And I did manage. The only thing I didn't go on was the Flight of the Hippogriff, which I need to do, which I'll probably do with Sam next time.
Yeah, actually, I've just remembered I've never done that either. Just because it looked rubbish.
It's actually good, you know.
Mm.
It's better. It's deceiving. It is better than what it looks.
Okay. Like me.
I'm right. So then what are you looking forward to doing next time, Paul?
I'm going to go down the line. Jimmy Fallon. Kong just doesn't appeal to me, I have to be honest. I didn't do the confrontation, but I did the original in Hollywood, their version of it. And this one it doesn't seem to have any of that likability of the original for me. So yeah, it's definitely Jimmy Fallon. I'm a fan of the show, so I'm looking forward to seeing that, and mainly possibly not even the ride, the non-queue line is what I think excites me the most.
Yes. Okay, so for me, I think something I did last time that I hadn't already done was doing an RIP tour at Halloween Horror Nights. That was super, super fun, and I definitely want to do it again. I'd never done it before, but it was a fantastic experience, especially with the group that we were with. It was really fun, and something I'm looking forward to this time that I haven't done before. Obviously, Jimmy Fallon. I am really excited about Jimmy Fallon, and I'm looking into doing a VIP tour for the day.
I will throw in that I will be doing Halloween Horror Nights the next time I go as well.
Yeah.
That'll be my first time in Orlando. I've done Hollywood twice, but not done Orlando, so looking forward to that as well.
You need to go at the same time as me and Chris so that we can all go together.
I've got to go in half term next time.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Oh, I can't be
Sam
doing
starts school in September.
Oh, wow.
So,
yeah, my daughter is starting school in September as well. So, but that's okay. What we could do, Paul, is just go out a few days before our other house.
Yeah. I suppose we could, couldn't we?
Yeah, I'm sure, no problem with, you and Mummy can get a flight and you can see Daddy out there.
Yes.
I'm sure they'll be completely fine with that.
Surely it'll be fine.
It'll save money, won't it?
Exactly. Right, let me see what other questions we've got. Okay, I just saw one from Lord Luke Rowe that I'm not going to answer because that's real rude, Lord Luke Rowe. You are a little bit. Okay, so the Disney community, this is from Jed Penner, has fun challenges like 4 parks in one day, drinks around the world, etc. What are some of the existing universal challenges? And what is a universal challenge that you would make up?
What's the challenge? The challenge in the hotel, is it the Hard Rock? With the
burger one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the only challenge that there is, really.
Isn't there a rum one? Or is that just a tasting thing?
That's just a taste. I mean, you could make it a challenge if you wanted to make it a challenge. I don't think
how many tasting flights can you do
before you die?
If I was to make up a challenge, I would make up how long you could stay inside the American Tower Barney the Dinosaur area. Because that's always scared me. It's the only reason I've gone on ET is because I was so scared I need to calm myself down. And luckily that was the nearest thing. But I imagine that's pretty traumatic.
I'd imagine so too. Or you could do how long can you stay in the Curious George ball pit without catching a cold from all the germs. I don't think there's any actual universal challenges though, to be honest. I haven't heard of any.
No.
But if I was going
anyone I could come up with was how many types of ice cream you can eat in Diagon Alley.
Oh yeah, that'd be a good one. That'd be a real fun one.
You probably do one about butterbeer.
Yeah.
Like have one of every butter. So what is it? There's butterbeer ice cream, fudge, slush,
hot, cold, normal.
Yeah. So that's 6. That's 6 different butterbeer things that I can come up with on the top of my head. So it's having all of those in one sitting.
Oh, you'd be sick.
I was almost
That's
sick
the
after
challenge.
I was almost sick after just having the butterbeer. So yeah.
Oh wow. Yeah, I'd go with that one. That's a good one to do.
Well, I suppose if you like another challenge you could probably do is how wet you can get, and just go on Popeyes and Dudley Do-Rights over and over until you can't take it anymore.
That is a good idea. We've actually got another question from Jed that's kind of like that.
Oh.
He says, how do you plan for the water rides? And he's given us options. So, A, do them all together and then get changed. B, skip them. C, don't plan. D, are you that poncho wearing Bampot? I have no idea what that is.
He does actually say to Google it.
Yeah, he says, had to Google that. Or something else.
I'll jump in straight away and say I'm B. I hate Popeye. Hate it with a passion. I've never
What about Dudley Do-Right or Jurassic Park?
I haven't done Dudley Do-Rights actually, because every time I've looked at it, there's been like a queue. I mean, not that the queue was that long, but it was long enough for me to go, yeah, I can't be waiting for that. And I think the thing is that I know what Dudley Do-Right should have been as a ride,
right.
And so I've always felt like it was just a little bit of it was going to be a bit of a letdown. Plus, although the other thing is, like, Dudley Do-Right doesn't actually mean anything to us. Like,
yeah, that's
Popeye does, but Dudley Do-Right, you know, I know there's a cartoon, I know there's a crappy live-action film they did, but it means nothing. Jurassic Park, I love. But to be honest, I've never really got that wet on Jurassic Park. I don't know if I've just been lucky.
Yeah,
I feel
like it's hit or miss with Jurassic Park. You'll either get completely drenched or you don't get wet at all. And there seems to be no rhyme or reason to it, so it doesn't really matter where you sit.
Yes,
no, I think
it's just random.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it depends on how many people are in the boat.
Probably.
Well, Steve Turbo's get off at the top.
Yeah. The last time I went on it by myself, and there was no more than, 5 or 6 people on it. And they stuck us all in the front. So as soon as you're at that bottom,
Bam.
all the weight's in the front of the boat. I was soaked, and I will say I'm D. I was wearing a poncho, and I still got soaked.
The last time I went up, because I said I would never go on Popeye again, and then when we went back out there, she wanted to go on Popeye, so I said, okay, but I'm putting a poncho on. And it did nothing. Poncho did nothing.
Yeah, poncho's not going to save you on Popeye.
No. And the thing with that as well, and I don't know, maybe you can confirm this, but I think, again, there are certain... And it's got nothing to do with where you sit, because obviously it spins as it goes around. But I think there are certain bits in those barges that you will get completely drenched.
Definitely.
So you could go on that ride and escape with just a little bit of being wetted. But yeah, I've only ever got drenched on that thing.
Same. Well, I am A, so I do them all together and then I get changed. Me and Ash do a thing that we call Bunday Fun Day. And that's where we get up really early, don't put any makeup on, don't do our hair, just put it all up in a bun. And then we go and do every water ride and then go back home and get changed and put makeup on.
I reckon we could do that, Paul.
Yeah, I was going to say I'm going to do that the next time I go.
Do it. Because honestly, there is no point in putting makeup on to go on these water rides. You may as well jump into the pool because you get that wet. Except Jurassic Park. I'll go on Jurassic Park any day. I don't mind going on Jurassic Park. But the others, not one chance am I going on that if I've got a full face of makeup on.
I think the problem is, though, and this is my own experience, so it's going to be completely different to yours, is that you normally stay on site.
Yeah.
When I go to Universal, I'm either staying on Disney or I've either staying on Disney property or we've stayed on iDrive. So it's not just, if we wanted to go home to change, we would have to leave the park and, probably looking at least an hour round trip to go back, get changed.
Well,
and
then
come
what
back
you
again.
could do is you could put your things in a little backpack and then there's lockers at the front of the park and I think it's about $5 for the day.
Yeah, do you know what? I don't think I've ever... I heard you talk about those on the last show. I don't think I've ever noticed those lockers.
Yeah.
But...
they're quite hidden,
yeah.
But there is a sign that points to them. But I have used them in the past. I bought about $150 worth of BT things one time and was not about to carry that around the park, so I left it in one of the lockers at Islands of Adventure. But if you're not staying on site, you could just put your stuff in a locker, and then you can go forwards and backwards to the locker through the day without having to pay again, so you can get changed.
Do you do Universal offer a thing like Disney, where if you buy things, they can ship it to your hotel?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I just wasn't really interested in doing that, so I just got a locker.
Precious. Nifty precious.
Yeah, because it was the last one that was in the shop, and I was like, oh my god, if something happens to this, then I'm going to have to wait for them to get them back in.
No, fair enough. I think we've all been there with stuff where, I've definitely gone, I'll go back and get that later on, and then gone back and they've sold out completely, or they've sold out my size, or whatever. So I'm like you, if I see something and, I really want it, I have to get it there and then.
Exactly. So, the next one is Alan Wheeler says, would you like to see one franchise take an entire park? So, he said, for instance, would you have Potter as its own park, or would you maybe make the third gate purely Nintendo? I'm going to say no to this. I personally wouldn't like that, just because I like being able to go between the different lands easily.
I agree with you, Amanda. I don't think it would work.
No, because you'd have to rely solely then on the fan base of that particular franchise.
Yeah.
And I just don't think that would work.
I suppose what makes a theme park, and it's a theme, isn't it? You'd have to have an extremely strong franchise. But I also think what you've got to bear in mind is the size. So, what's the smallest... Well, probably the smallest park I'd ever seen was when Disney Studios opened in Paris. When it first opened. I mean...
That's never had a theme.
But not only that, we're talking about Hollywood Studios at the moment being a half-day park with all the attractions being renovated and stuff. I mean, that wasn't even a half-day park when it first opened. And it's only become a full-day park recently. You could argue that much. But it wasn't a very big area. Now, when that first opened, the size of it, you probably could have actually themed it to an entire franchise if you wanted. But I think it really depends on the size of the land. I don't know. Yeah, as I said, it would have to have a really, really strong franchise. I think if Nintendo, I mean, we don't know what the third gate is still, do
Game
we?
of Thrones.
Well, other than Game of Thrones, you're right. Yes. So, but
I'd obviously go to a Game of Thrones park.
hashtag third gate Game of Thrones. But I think, you know, if they were doing Nintendo as the third gate, I think 20 years ago that would have been amazing. But I don't feel that Nintendo now, globally, is the brand that it was all those years ago when like Mario was still at the height of everything. I know it's like a new Mario Kart game that's just come out, but to me, people don't seem to love Nintendo in a way that they did when we were growing up, you know? And so
I feel like I'm really out of the loop with things like Nintendo, but didn't everyone go crazy about the Nintendo Switch recently?
well, I haven't bought one. Well, it's an indication of anything, because I've got a PlayStation 4, but I haven't got an Xbox One. But, I mean, I think Nintendo are very good at getting people hyped about stuff, but I think putting into practice, I mean, look at that Mario Brothers game. They were hyping that Mario Brothers game on the iPhone and Android coming out. Who's playing that still?
No, because you had to pay to get to the next bit of it, so I deleted it.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it was just the same as every other game that's like that. There was nothing different to it at all.
Exactly. So, I mean, I know the Switch is different, but I know that apparently it's doing quite well, but I just don't think it has the fan base that it did. Look, when we were growing up, I'd play Mario Brothers, adults play Mario Brothers, everyone would play Mario Brothers. Now, as an adult, I've got really no interest in playing Mario Brothers anymore. Gaming's gone past that. You know, that just doesn't excite me anymore. I would love to see a Mario Kart attraction, but I do think maybe in hindsight, and bearing in mind what they've done already, I do think Potter could have potentially been its own park. But I know what you're saying, Amanda, about you know, people kind of avoiding it if they're not interested in it, but I think there'll always be a kind of interest in seeing something, especially if they did a thing like, well, what they did with Islands of Adventure, where you can buy a separate ticket, but for a little bit more than a ticket to one park, you can have a hopper. That would encourage people to kind of go and see it, even if it's just to spend half a day in there to see if they like it, you know. But I think with all, you know, if you think about how much space Potter's taken up, that probably could have been its own gate.
Yeah, I agree.
With a few attractions, like, you know, not just as it is, with like a couple more attractions, but I think they could have probably got away with that. And I think maybe, well, I mean, as a Universal purist, I'd have preferred that, because we'd still have Jaws, you know.
Yeah.
So
Definitely. Okay, so Brian Rose asks, would you recommend eating dinner inside of the parks or outside along City Walk? I've been to NASCAR Cafe, RIP, a few times, NBC Grill and Brew, Hard Rock Cafe, Three Broomsticks, The Leaky Cauldron, and Hot Dog Hall of Fame. Thanks and love you all. Oh, we love you too, Brian.
oh yeah, back at you, man.
I feel like a bit of both. I don't think you have to limit yourself to just choosing one. Sometimes I just nip out to City Walk for some dinner and then go back into the park. I think both have plenty of good options. Cowfish is fantastic in City Walk. But then sometimes I'm in a bit of a Panda Express mood. Or sometimes I'll just get a little pizza slice from the Monster Cafe. It just depends.
What's it like as a vegetarian in the park?
Universal is a lot better.
Okay.
Disney is such hard work. Like,
Interesting.
very, very hard work. Their only options, really, at Disney is a garden burger, which isn't very nice.
Is that made of grass?
Pretty much. And it's pretty minging. So when I'm at Disney, I'm lucky that I go when Food and Wine Festival's on, so I kind of save myself a Food and Wine Festival and spend every night at Epcot that I'm at Disney. Otherwise, I think I'd starve to death or live on crisps. Because it is hard. But Universal does have a lot more options.
I will say, similar for children as well, Disney is very limited on what you technically can choose for children. Their children's meals. We tended to use a lot of snacks for Sam when we were out there, just to give him a variation.
Exactly.
But then saying that, we went in the Harry Potter restaurants. I can't even remember which one it was, whether it was Leaky Cauldron or Three Broomsticks. And they didn't have a kids menu.
Oh, wow.
So it swings in roundabouts. It depends on how you want to look at it, I suppose, in that sense, I think. But answering that question, for me, I think there's a better choice outside of the parks in City Walk.
Yeah, especially now since City Walk's been redeveloped, there's so many amazing restaurants. And, you know, we are lucky that we do have City Walk and we can just hop out of the park and hop back in. And it would take pretty much the same amount of time as it would to just eat dinner in the park anyway. But I think it doesn't really make any difference. You just do whatever you want. We'll see if we have better choices. Depends on what you like.
Paul, you can probably answer this for me actually, but is City Walk set up very similar to Downtown Disney at Disneyland?
Yeah, pretty much so.
So you can kind of walk there from the parks?
Yeah.
Because that's the thing, like, you know, obviously when you know, sorry to mention it again, but having gone from like Disneyland Paris to Disney World and how spaced out everything is, because you can walk from the Disney Village to Disneyland Paris in a few minutes, you know, under 5 minutes. But you wouldn't be able to walk from the Magic Kingdom to Downtown Disney or Disney Springs now. And the one thing that I've always liked about City Walk is the fact that you can, you know, as you say, just kind of hop out. There's no distance. And there's so much choice there for eating. I've got to say, I never really had great experiences eating in Universal. I think maybe because we had like a few things with the dining plan. I think we had breakfast or something. Actually, maybe we didn't. But anyway, I mean, because we was staying at Disney on site, we ate a lot there, and I just found a lot of the stuff in Universal at the time seemed to be like very burger heavy. Everywhere I looked.
Yeah, I agree. It is quite burger heavy.
I like burgers, don't get me wrong, but yeah, just not all the time.
No, but I think Disney's very burger heavy now, though.
Right.
And so, I mean, both of them they do have the same kind of food. But now that you've got like the Simpsons food court, so you've got a little bit more variation in there, and then you have got City Walk as an option too. It is a bit more variation.
What about healthy food? Because I mean, that was one thing that Disney seriously lacked in. I remember, like for breakfast, my wife wanted like some, like, I think it was fresh strawberries or grapes or something. She wanted with some pancakes, and we couldn't get any proper fruit.
No.
Or I found it hard to get proper fruit in food courts and stuff like that. Is Universal kind of better for that, would you say?
Quite a few of the stands do sell fruit. Starbucks definitely sells fruit. And then in the Simpsons food court, there's a Lisa's Treehouse bit that sells a lot of veggie food and a lot of healthy food.
Cool.
So that tends to be my go-to place.
Yeah, I always forget about Springfield.
Yeah, because I think everyone just thinks, oh, Krusty Burger, but I think there's about 6 different food places in there.
Was that part of the expansion when they opened up Kudos and Kane?
Uh-huh.
Okay. I was going to say, because I remember the Quickie Mart shop, but I didn't remember seeing anything else, but that's why. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so it's inside like where Moe's is.
But yeah, I mean, to me, City Walk has just got so many good choices. I like Bubba Gumps.
Oh, I love Bubba Gumps.
Yeah. It's nice we've got one in London now, so at least I can kind of go there to drown my sorrows. Although it's not as good, but the menu's pretty similar. Same kind of stuff. What else did I like there, actually? I think where else I had. Hard Rock, obviously.
Hard Rock.
I do like that Hard Rock. I mean, Hard Rock is a bit pricey, but I always have a good experience in there.
Yeah,
always my go-to in Hollywood.
Oh, really?
It's Hard Rock, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And I like it.
So...
Yeah, go on.
Sorry, I'm just trying to get through these
questions.
No. The next one was from that Florida guy, Gary. He asked, if Craig Lucas had to be a performer in the parks, where would you put him and why?
Is there a circus?
The Circus McGurkus.
Actually, no. What they need to do is American Horror Stories Freak Show. That's an all-year attraction. I'll just put Craig in there.
You know who I'd have him play? Beetlejuice.
Far too tall.
I think he'd make a really good Beetlejuice.
Surely he'd make a better Frankenstein.
Yeah, I mean, he could be, but Frankenstein doesn't really talk. But I think
I'd rather Craig didn't talk, to be honest.
Would be good as Beetlejuice.
I can see where you're going with that. I don't know if Scouse Beetlejuice would have the same ring to it.
I'm sure he could put on an accent. We'll get him to do it next time he's on.
Oh, he could be a train driver on the Hogwarts Express.
He'd love that.
That would be his ideal job.
That would be so funny.
Oh, where else could you stick Craig?
He could be a stilt walker, but wouldn't need the stilts.
Hey, if we could get him a massive donut, he could be Lard Lad.
Yeah.
Couldn't he? I'm sure he wouldn't mind staying there with his arm raised for an indefinite amount of time.
No, I know where I'd put him. This isn't a performer, but he could perform anyway. I'd make him be the police mannequin in E.T. Because he never shuts up about that mannequin. So there you go, Craig, you can replace him.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay, we've got one from Kevin Curtis Allen, but I'm going to change this question a little bit. So he asked what everyone's favourite on-site hotel was and why. So I'll give my answer, but then you guys can say which hotel you would really like to stay at and why.
Mm-hmm.
So mine it was Hard Rock, but it changed last year to Sapphire Falls, strangely enough. I thought I'd always like Hard Rock the most, but I did really, really enjoy Sapphire Falls. It was an awful lot cheaper, and I had a better time. So I am going to say Sapphire Falls.
Cool.
So if you guys had to choose one to stay at, what would
I actually have a night planned at Hard Rock for the next trip.
Oh.
For Halloween Horror Nights night, so I'm on site for it.
And is that the one that you would want to stay at the most?
I think so, yeah. The music stuff's kind of my thing. I've been a music fan. Well, obviously everybody's a music fan, but I used to go to gigs really quite regularly and things like that, and it's just always attracted me. So, plus you get the express passes, and you're so close to the park as well. And just all the videos that I've watched of everything, and the restaurants look good as well, and it's just what's attracted me completely. So that would be my choice to stay at, full stop, I think.
Awesome. And what about you, Nick?
I would have to say Hard Rock. I think probably because everyone's talked about it so much. You talked about Sapphire Falls last year, made it sound really good, but I think for my first on-site experience, I'd have to go Hard Rock.
Yeah, I agree.
And then I'd probably change, but yeah.
I feel like everybody should try Hard Rock at least once, even if they do just stay for 1 or 2 nights to get the use out of the fast passes, the express passes. Because it is a really amazing hotel. The pool's amazing. The restaurants are really good. But there was just something about Sapphire Falls last year that I really, really liked. And I'm gutted that I'm not staying there this year. So let me find... We'll maybe do 2 more questions and then we'll wrap up and we'll save the rest of the questions for next time. So we had one that made me laugh from Jace Clutton. And he said, what verbal gymnastics are Disney fans going to go through just to prove that Blue Man Tail Sex World isn't a failure and how miraculously it is better than the Wizarding World? Then how are they going to talk shite about how it was never meant to be the Potter Swatter after all? And that made me laugh because I listened to the last episode of Dis After Dark when I was driving home from Liverpool, and all I heard was Craig talking crap about Harry Potter.
Craig is like my least favourite footwear, the flip-flop. Because Ethan R. flip-flop, I love him, but he flip-flops. Personally, I've said since day 1 of this podcast, in fact, one of the very earliest episodes was not long after, I think, Avatar was announced or they were officially about to start groundwork or whatever, I don't know. We was talking about it, and I have always been very vocal that I don't think it's going to be all that great. I really don't think it's going to be all that great. I think like now it's coming upon us, and what I've seen so far, I think it's going to be good. But to me, Avatar was a complete knee-jerk reaction to Harry Potter. And again, as I've said, if they knew that Lucasfilm would be coming up for sale not long afterwards, there is no way they'd have ploughed that money into Avatar. Now, I've also heard rumours that it's a co-venture, and so Disney are kind of footing half the bill, and Cameron or Fox are footing the other half. I don't know how true that is. I don't actually think it is, but I've heard that. Maybe that was a thing that sweetened it, but I can't see it was necessary really, because at that time Avatar was like the biggest film in history. To me, it's had one film. They've announced now. Did you see that they've just announced the release dates for Avatar 2, 3 and 4?
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to happen.
And it's going to...
And 5.
And 5? Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
Ugh. And isn't the first one due 2020 now? Is it 2019?
Yeah. 2020.
So, I mean, the thing is, by that point, it will be 11 years after Avatar came out. I just think it's a bust already. I don't care how impressive something is. I mean, the rides could be great, but if any real Disney fan thinks that this is going to blow Potter out of the water and what they've done at the Wizarding World, I think they're going to be sort of disappointed. It looks great. Maybe. It looks great, but just because something looks good doesn't mean it's all there.
I agree. I mean, I think Avatar is going to be good, and I don't think there's ever been a point where I've been like, oh no, it's going to be rubbish. I do think it's going to be good. I don't think it's going to be everything they made out there it was going to be at all, but I do think it will be a good land. I don't think there's a chance in hell of it touching Potter.
No.
And I'm not one of these people that's like, I either like Universal or I like Disney and there's no in between. I like both of them pretty equally. But what they did with Potter was fantastic, and I just don't think... I mean, Star Wars, I think that's going to be competition.
Mm.
But I don't think that Avatar will.
No.
I can't say it either.
Base to Avatar. Like there is with Potter, you've got hardcore Potter fans that travel from different countries just to come and see it. Would anyone travel from a different country purely to see Avatar? No, is the answer to that.
And you hear the stories that now twice it's happened that the Imagineers have turned around and gone, why didn't you just wait 6 months? And if they'd have waited 6 months, they would have had Lucasfilm. And then, like, a year ago, they turned around and went, oh, why didn't you just wait until Zootopia was finished? And neither set of Imagineers are happy. They would have rather have had something else to work on, something that was their own. And I actually think they've taken some shortcuts. I don't think these rides are going to be anything special at all. It seems like they're just using old systems that they've already got, and it's a shame. I think it will look lovely, but it's not going to touch Potter in any way, shape, or form.
Well, what was people? I was listening to a podcast recently and talking about the Potter technology for Forbidden Journey, and someone asked why it had never been used again. Who was that? Was that Chris that was talking about that?
I don't know.
I know I definitely heard something recently that Disney thought they'd got the deal on it, and then Universal went and stumped them.
Huh.
Oh.
And Universal got exclusive rights to use that system.
Oh, wow. Well, I mean, the thing is, like, that was the last really exciting ride, I think. Like, everything that's come after that has been, frankly, disappointment. That
Wait,
ride
the
system,
journey?
yeah, that ride
I
system
think
is
Gringotts
fantastic.
was good.
Yeah, look, I've not gone on Gringotts, but I think you're in the minority for that from what I've heard, and I think, and again, not having been on it, but I thought Gringotts was quite similar to that roller coaster they've got in Alton Towers. Oh, 13 or something.
Oh no, it's nothing like that.
No, okay, but yeah, to me, like I said, like every ride since then has been a variation of something that was the last original ride. Everything else has just been an updated version of something that went before. So, like, Transformers was just Spider-Man, essentially, just done a different way. Kong, was kind of existing technology as well. Nothing seems original, and from what I've seen so far, nothing seems original with this. It's just, as Paul said, a variation of something that's come before. What they need is something groundbreaking. Now, what they're talking about with Star Wars, some of that stuff sounds groundbreaking. And if they can nail that lightsaber stuff they're talking about, it'll be a game changer, I think. But Avatar just doesn't look like it's going to cut the mustard.
Okay, we'll do one last question. But before I do that last question, I just want to say, Steve Wilson, they're never going to get rid of E.T. Get rid of E.T., so no thank you. And Jed Penner, I will answer your E.T. question on the next episode, because I feel like I'm going to give a really long answer to that question, and we don't really have that much time left. So, Simon says, hi guys, great show, keep up the awesome work. When and where would you eat at Halloween Horror Nights? Plus, if you could only ride one more attraction again for the rest of your life, what would it be and why? I know it's 2 questions, but I like to be a bit cheeky.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
At Halloween Horror Nights, they have loads of booths around the park. So they do things like twisted taters. They're really nice. They do chicken wings. All kinds.
Hang on, you know, chicken wings aren't vegetarian, right? Just because they're thin. Okay.
Personally, I don't eat the chicken wings, but other people do. But they do have plenty of choice. You don't have to go and sit in a restaurant and take up your time. But then you can do the ScareZone dining, which is in the Monster Cafe, and they put like a buffet style thing on. So that's a good option. Other than that, I would probably just eat from the booths that are out around the park. But if you could ride one more attraction for the rest of your life, what would it be, guys? I'll let you answer first.
I'm going to go for one we've already talked about, actually. I would pick Jurassic Park.
Oh, would ya?
Wow.
Yeah.
Why?
It's just a classic ride. And it seems like it was made with the love of the filmmakers. I think Spielberg was obviously involved quite heavily. And I like the animatronics. I still think they're really clever for when they were made, certainly. And even now they still hold up, I think.
It's just Splash Mountain, though, isn't it?
Yeah, but Jurassic Park's a better story than Splash Mountain.
Of course it is. No, I'm a big fan of Jurassic Park as well. Just out of curiosity, Paul, because I know it came first. What's the Hollywood version like compared to the Islands of Adventure version?
More or less exactly the same.
Oh, is it?
There's not much difference at all.
Okay.
Okay,
Interesting.
so picnic.
It's still got my favourite story about the fact, Steven Spielberg had a hand in it. The alcohol's kicking in, and yet he can't ride it all the way through. I do love that, but like you, Paul, I think it's a cracking ride. So the thing is, you didn't put a caveat in this if it could be something from the past.
Oh, well, that's true. You didn't mention that, Simon.
So I'll do an extinct attraction and I'll do a current one. Surprisingly, my answer is actually going to be Jaws.
Right.
Because although I've always said about how much I wanted to go on King Kong, because I never went on it, I don't know how much I enjoyed it in comparison to Jaws, which I know I loved. So therefore, I'd go with the safe choice of something that I knew I loved. But of the stuff that's there now, I think I'd choose Spider-Man, you know.
Would ya?
I love Spider-Man so much.
That's a surprise one.
I love Spider-Man so much. And I know it's, almost it's about 18, 19 years old now, isn't it? But I just think it's such a good system. And I don't think it's been bettered. Again, it's another thing where that was, I think, the first kind of attraction of its kind like that. And you've had versions of that. You've got Transformers in the park. You've got Ratatouille in France. They're similar systems of the same thing. None of them compare to Spider-Man.
Yeah, I agree. So if I was going to pick mine, if I could do an extinct one, I would do Jaws as well. 100% do Jaws. But if it's something that's there now, obviously E.T. Because if I'm riding it for the rest of my life, they can't close it. So they'll have no choice but to keep it open until I die, and then I won't care because I'll be dead.
So Paul, because you didn't answer it in that respect, would you have a different ride?
I would pick Back to the Future.
Oh,
Every time. Absolute classic. And I know The Simpsons is the same ride system, but there was just something about it it just felt like it was a continuation of the film.
Yeah.
Like you could imagine Doc Brown doing exactly what he's doing.
Mm.
And and the fact that they did, obviously, Michael J. Fox wasn't in it, but they did have Chris Lloyd back. They did have Tom Wilson back. And I actually really liked the storyline as well. I thought it was clever that again, Biff found a way to get away into the future and the past and mess things up, like he always did.
I think is amazing about the Back to the Future attraction, other than the fact that it closed mere months before my first trip to Orlando, is the fact that, like you say, Paul, it felt like a continuation without the star. That's the thing. Michael J. Fox was clearly the star of those films. You didn't feel that it lacked that star power. I mean, I've talked about before that the whole, queue and ride is on the 25th anniversary edition Back to the Future collection. So I've seen it all, and I've had to move around to pretend that I'm on the ride. But it works so well. It feels just like you're in the film. And I think any the best rides, the best attractions are the ones that do that, where you can believe that you are either in the film or it's a continuation of the film, and it doesn't feel like it's just shoehorned in. I love The Simpsons, but it doesn't even feel like an episode of The Simpsons. Do you know what I mean? It feels like an odd thing to me. There's something about it that, and I unlike most people, I quite like The Simpsons, but there's just something jarring about it for me in comparison to that. Now, on a similar note, Men in Black, I don't actually think that's a very good continuation of Men in Black. I know what they're trying to do with that, but to me, that, and I don't know if it's because I think the animatronics are mostly quite ropey, or the aliens in it are quite ropey, but once you get past the queue, I don't actually think the ride's that good. But, you know, Back to the Future is one that really captured the spirit of it very well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Men in Black's the best ride in the world, but it's fun. It's a fun ride. I couldn't go ride at Universal without riding it.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's terrible. It's good for what it needs to be, but in terms of like you know, Jaws felt like you were going around the town of like where Jaws is set around Amity. Like you felt like you could be part of that in a weird way when you consider that Jaws is set at a beach, and it's clearly not a beach. Mm-hmm. If anything, it's like it's more like a harbour. But I never went around it and was like, oh, well, this isn't a beach. I accepted what it was, and I fully believed what I was experiencing. I think Harry Potter does quite a good job of that as well, actually, of making you feel like you're actually in that world.
Yeah, I agree.
But that's really it. So, great questions, though.
I know. Like, if we didn't answer your question, yeah, I'm really sorry. We just got an awful lot of them, but we will 100% answer them in the next episode. We are going to record another one before I go away. So we'll definitely get them all answered. We did just get an awful lot of really, really good questions, and I just picked them at random, really.
Yeah, so if we make a note of the ones that we've answered, and then for the next show, we'll do that. Cool.
Yes.
Cool.
So, unless anyone's got anything else, I think it's time to wrap it up. Cool. So, thanks so much for listening. Make sure you go and buy Chris's new book. It's out on Amazon. I have a new mini-series on my YouTube channel where I'm reviewing 7 horror films in 7 days. So, I would greatly appreciate if you want to check them out. And anything you guys want to promote?
I should have the first half of my trip blog going up on our website, magical-kingdoms.com.
Yes.
You can hear me embarrass myself as Ian Lee's guest on his radio show. Links in the group.
That was a fantastic episode. I definitely recommend everyone goes and listens to that because it was Nick. That was amazing. It was such a good episode.
It was weird to be so candid. I was talking to my brother about it today because he's not heard it yet, and I said it was quite funny how candid I was on that. I really didn't expect to be so open and honest about stuff. So yeah, if you actually want an insight into what makes me tick, then download the Ian Lee podcast that I'm on, and the links in the group. Otherwise, thank you for your continued support of us and Patreons. You are going to get your stuff out. I've got to finalise the t-shirt because I wasn't happy with the first design of it, so that's been tried with some help from Paul, and we'll hopefully get that done soon. And badges will be on the way to people that have done that as well. So I actually
also, I'm going to have badges when I'm out in the parks.
Yeah.
If you're a listener and you see me while I'm out and about in Orlando, come over to me and I'll give you some badges.
And if we run out, you can.
I'll make you one.
Details or something. Yeah, I was going to say we'll send one out afterwards if we run out. But
I'll give you an IOU for a badge.
I gave some for my wife to wear in Disneyland Paris this week, and meant to give her some more to take with her, and then found that I put them in the wrong bag. So they're here. Yeah. So if anyone is listening to this while she's out there and sees her wearing one, go and say hi, leave your details, and we'll send one out in the post to you. But yeah, otherwise, thank you.
Thanks so much, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
We hope you've enjoyed this podcast. If you would like to support Dis After Dark and the other After Dark Network podcasts, please visit our website at www.patreon.com/Dis After Dark. That's patreon.com/Dis After Dark. Thank you. This podcast is part of the After Dark Podcast Network.